There we go.
Give me direction. Follow them.
Okay, it's 1 after 7. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to our regular first meeting of the month. To the veterans, I'd like to welcome you for the second time. And this meeting, if you have any questions about anything that goes on during the meeting, please see a board member after the meeting or when we break to go into executive session. There is a public comment section where we welcome your comments or thoughts about any issues that are coming before the board or anything else that you might want to bring to the board's attention. Then at a certain point in the agenda, we adjourn to executive session. We ask you to leave for that, and you're welcome to come back afterward when we'll approve things that we have discussed during the executive session. So the first, normally our public comments is the first thing on the agenda, but tonight we have some juniors and seniors here who want to give us a proposal for their prom, and that will be the first order of business. So welcome, and give us your proposal.
Hello, everybody. This is our proposal for the 2018 prom. So we would like to have prom this year at the Pine Lake Banquet Hall, of course in Pine Lake. It's about a 45-minute drive from the school. Thank you. Prom will be held on Saturday, May 19th, 2018. Prom will start at 7 o'clock and we'll get over at 11 o'clock, the same schedule as last year's prom.
Excuse me, but before you speak, could you just introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry. I'm Brady Sickler, Vice President of Class of 2018.
I'm Sydney Weingart. I'm the Secretary of the Class of 2018.
And I'm Samantha Field. I'm a Student Representative of Class of 2018.
Why an off-campus prom versus a school prom? Off-campus, everyone eats together. Everyone is not scattered around. No extra spending for decorations. Pine Lake does provide linens, lights, and everything, table decor. There is no cleanup. It raises the level of excitement of an off-campus versus in the high school gym. There's a higher attendance number. If we have it on campus, it would normally be held in the gym. Everyone isn't together during dinner, so you don't have that whole class feeling of everyone being together, having dinner together. You have to decorate the gym, which takes time, money. We have to clean up the gym afterwards. There are lower levels of excitement and lower attendance numbers. The tentative schedule, everyone will show up at the elementary school to drop off their stuff for post-prom around 4:30. We load the buses at 5:15 at the elementary school. We head up to the high school by 5:30 for prom introductions. They will be ending around 6. We load the buses at the high school at 6 o'clock. We arrive at the venue between 6:45 and 7 o'clock. Dinner will start at 7:30. Dinner will end at 8 o'clock. That's when prom will start, the actual dancing. Then prom will end at 11 o'clock. That's when we load the buses to come back to the elementary school for a post-prom that starts at 12 a.m. Ticket price this year is the same as last year, $50. So this includes the venue rental and dinner, which is $35. Other expenses, $15. Other expenses include transportation and DJ, and each class will split the remaining costs afterwards. This is just the menu that they are providing for us. there's multiple options and multiple areas where we can change certain menu items if need. I know a main concern is how will students be protected since it is a off-campus prom. Pine Lake Banquet Hall is surrounded by a pine forest. There's also a lake on one side of the venue. So what we plan is when we arrive at the venue, students will enter the venue, are not allowed to go outside until dinner has ended, all the chaperones have ate, then the chaperones will proceed outside and set up a designated area for students to hang out outside for fresh air, and then the students will be allowed outside. That's it. Any questions? Comments, concerns, compliments?
I've got a question. First of all, thank you. This looks really nice, and it's nice that you're able to present. So I noticed it says that some students who will be driving in between the school buses. Did you discuss or talk about why you didn't have students drive?
It's really up to the students. There will be transportation for the students. If they feel the need that they would like their own personal transportation, say if they get a limo or something of that sort, they are just required to drive in between the two buses so that they're not allowed to get off at a separate exit. They're not allowed to go anywhere else. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I'm just wondering if you had that conversation.
Oh
for
yes,
safety reasons as well, and how do you prevent the kid from just saying I'm leaving, getting in the car and going?
They are notified that they are not allowed to leave the prom. The
Right.
only reason they are allowed to leave the prom in case of a medical emergency, which a school van will be also taking the school van for medical emergencies only.
Any other questions?
If they can't leave, what's the purpose of them driving?
Just to have their own privacy, I guess, to prom, from the school to the venue, and from the venue to back to the school. If a group of friends want to hang out in a limo, just to have a pleasant time.
Does this include private vehicles too, not just limos, right?
Yeah, private vehicles as well.
Yeah, because we had a few concerns from some of the people who attended prom last year. One didn't like the bus feel, and they prefer to just be with the people they are going with.
I have a question. If there are any students who, for whom it would be a real hardship to come up with $50 for the prom, have you talked about that? Helping to underwrite those students.
So it's kind of the way we have it set up is if you can afford it, you are more than likely to attend prom. You can. If you can't, then it's kind of their own problem. Like, we're not forcing anyone to go to prom as well.
Well, yeah.
I've represented the junior class vice president Alexito. I think our class can foot the bill for that one. I don't think there'll be too many people that we can't do that for.
Yeah, plus we still have more fundraisers to come where we can
Right.
help sponsor students.
If it
So
needs
money
be.
won't be an issue. It never will be.
So everyone who wants to go will be
They
able to
they
go.
will
Yeah.
they will definitely by all means.
So that's always a concern of ours, that no one should be prevented from going because of financial reasons.
Yeah, no, that would never happen. We would make sure.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If a student, I saw that back to the $50 fee, if a student wants to take his or her own car, is he still paying that $15? Is that
Yeah.
included in the
Yeah.
fee? So everybody pays 50?
Yes. Regardless. Yeah. Because it's an overall cost.
Okay.
We have to be able to cover everything because we have the buses for everybody to take the buses, and we need that money to be able to pay for those buses, and people will just decide we'd end up with empty buses for no reason.
What's the status of your financial situation at this point as classes for funding this?
Well, I know for the senior class, we have had trouble raising money for our class we've had a lot of problems with certain fundraisers, kids stealing from us. But we are trying to find new ways to find fundraisers where we really can't lose anything from it. Mostly what happens is all profit, but at the moment we can pay for what we need to.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can pay for the essentials, it's more of just like the bells and whistles of like having more decorations.
And also the junior class, we'll be helping them financially through the prom. We partnered up for that. We would end up paying them, I think it's half of the expenses for what they have already planned.
Yeah, the junior class is pretty well off.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Are we ready to vote at this point on this question? Okay, can I have a motion? What is the
Oh, the motion to vote on
To approve it or disapprove it?
To approve it.
To approve it, do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? One abstention. So the motion carries, congratulations.
Wait.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the public comment section. So whoever signed up, you know where you are.
Jen Field.
Hello, I'm Jen Field, I'm a parent. I have a couple of comments. First of all, I just want to say thanks for the Vision Committee for putting together the wonderful community event at East Hill. I thought it was a great way to get input from everybody, and I hope that that is something that the Board of Education will put together for other ideas, other input from the community. Along with that, I want to follow up with something here that was talked about in terms of transportation for the kids. I know that clubs and organizations in the past, and maybe this is something, this is part of the board policy and that should be looked at, but they have to pay the school for the use of the buses, and they have to pay the school for the bus drivers and those kinds of things, which ends up becoming a huge cost for these classes of for these kids or these clubs, whatever it is. It could be a ski club, it could be the class of 2018, it could be whatever it is, the SAD or student council or NADA or whatever it is, and they go on these field trips and they end up having to pay the school for transportation. And to me that seems extremely cost prohibitive, considering these are organizations that the kids are trying to raise money. On top of the fact that we are in a very, as we all know, because everybody's been going through a lot of training in all of the schools around here, that we are in a huge area of poverty. So here we are, kids are doing fundraising, and then we're taking money from them to use for transportation for the field trips. And I understand that, you know, school has to make money or whatever, but I am also a teacher in a neighboring school, and we have never paid for transportation ever for anything. Even when I've taken a group to Europe, and it wasn't just kids, and it was over the summer, and they took us to Boston, and they took us to New York City, to the airport, they didn't charge us a dime, not a dime. And I just think for these organizations who, where the kids are fundraising their trip costs, they shouldn't have to pay for transportation. So along that line, because we are a school of poverty, seniors, I'm a parent of 2 seniors, I think it's great that we have, that we're utilizing local photography because it helps local businesses. However, I don't think that the $28 fee that people have to pay no matter what, we're told we must pay it, just for the sitting fee, that you do not get any pictures from that, could be something that is a problematic cost for some families. I mean, I'm thankful, that I have a job, my husband has a job, we can afford that, but I don't know around here how many families can afford that. So I think that's something that should be looked into, along
That's
with
for the
the
senior
cost.
picture.
Senior Pictures is $28, and like I said, they do a terrific job. It has nothing against them at all. I just think that that cost, that maybe it's something you might want to look into in terms of sponsoring some families who are on free and reduced lunch or something like that to help them, because that could be a problematic cost. In addition, I just want to follow up on my technology question. From the last time, there was talk about the one-on-one initiative, and I had asked some follow-up questions, and I'm hoping that I can get a response to them. One of my questions was when the pilot is going to go into effect for this one-on-one initiative for iPads or Padlets or whatever you're going to use. So I'm guessing it's not happening this year, because I haven't heard anything about it, but, what I want to know is who is on the committee, have they discussed the pros and cons, is there a committee of teachers involved across all the schools, so it's not just 2 teachers from the high school and nobody else. I think it should be across the board. You should have elementary, middle school, and high school teachers involved with this, and it should be across areas of curriculum. You should have an English teacher, a social studies teacher, a math teacher. You should have a special area teacher. This needs to be something, if you're going to do one-on-one initiative, that everybody's a part of this. Have they like I said, have they discussed the pros and cons? Have you visited other schools where one-on-one is going on? For example, there's one 7 minutes away. Nobody's been there. Nobody's talked to, have you? Okay. I haven't heard about anybody going down there to talk to anybody. I just would like to know
Jen,
how it's being directed.
5 minutes is up, so I don't,
Yes.
you don't need to stop immediately. But could-
Yes, no, I just want to know how it's being directed and what we're doing about that. So I had asked those questions October 13th, but I haven't received a follow-up from that, so I just wanted to put that out there, and hopefully we can get some answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who's next?
Mary Ellen?
I'm Mary Ellen Driscoll. I'm a parent, and I wanted to follow up on the morning drop-off new routine that took place a few weeks ago, and thank the school because I think it's working a lot better. I brought to the attention of the superintendent and head of buildings and grounds that a student was almost hit a few weeks ago. And it was something like a situation I've been watching for years and thinking this is very unsafe. This is just crazy. People zoom in and out of there. Kids cross that alleyway without a parent. And, I regret that it took the point of seeing a kid almost hit to say something to the school. And I just want to say that I think it's working really well, and that having that person there, which I originally thought wasn't important, has been great because there's a lot of moving parts in that half-hour of span of a little alleyway, and he's a lot busier than the other person who's stopping cars or, stopping kids from crossing when the buses come. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that when I get to the middle school to drop off my daughter, there's always someone standing at that door. And so in general, my point here is safety, and that I think it's the most critical thing, first thing in my mind with my kids, and I appreciate what the school's done so far. But I will say that when I last read the school policy book, there is supposed to be a safety committee in this district, and it was formed way back in Dick Rose's years, and I think it was when they like revised some safety issues, and they're supposed to meet every year, and it was like a coalition, like the Vision Coalition, and I don't know, somehow it dissolved, and I just thought I should bring that to your attention, because given all the building changes that are happening, and just these little issues like a drop-off, like I thought our Vision Coalition was amazing. It was just such a great spectrum of perspectives. And our school doesn't have a lot of that. A lot falls on the board's lap, and sort of this isolated arena. So I guess I'd ask the board to consider, like look into whether that is true. We are supposed to have a safety committee, and if not, maybe we should consider that. You know, whether it's, you know, major building changes or something, like maybe we should have hall monitors in the middle school, you know, something simple like that, that often parents know more about, hearing, you know, talking to their kids than maybe the buildings and grounds manager might be aware of, or even a superintendent. But that's just something to
Can I just
consider.
ask you a question? What was the change that was made that you were referring to?
Well, do you know the alley I'm talking about by the Little League field?
Yeah.
Well, they put a stop sign in that open gateway, so when you're driving, you have to stop at that spot, and I believe the goal is to put a nice fat crosswalk painted there, but in addition to that stop sign, there's actually a person there stopping cars to let kids cross. Like my son now, usually I try to park on the right hand side, but if I can't find a spot, you know, now he's like, I don't want you to cross me, Mom, because he's there. But there are a lot of parents with little kids who just don't get out of the car and pull over on that side. In the case where that I saw, the little boy was about this high, and he was walking in front of his mom's car, and he wasn't looking up, and the car coming wasn't looking for him, and hit the brakes hard. But it's just kind of like, you know, it's a morning, people are rushing to work, it's been a bit of a speed zone. So this feels a lot more like you gotta pay attention to what you're doing and slow down.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, so first point on the agenda will be the discussion will be the veterans alternative taxes.